Good morning, everyone. Just move some of this. How we doing today? It is OPEX Friday stream. Let us open up Zoom as well. Hopefully everything doesn't combust. The overnight bid, the overnight monster bid here, honestly a little surprising. I closed out longs from last night way too early. So let me just open up one more thing here and we'll get this session started. Good morning, everyone joining us on Zoom as well. Let's do that. We're live on YouTube today, so we'll be streaming the session, and let's talk about what we got going on here, because it is indeed sorry, let me just still confused here, it seems. It's still pretty strong bullish momentum, right? Markets continue this massive rally to the upside. Honestly, did I expect something of the sort, especially after yesterday's kind of weaker close? Not really, but I was looking for a little bit of a bid on the overnight that I was looking for a failure, honestly, into that 320 on the NASDAQ, but as you have it, right, there was no reason for me to just like close that long and go short, but I closed it way too early. I closed it now 180 points ago pretty much, so which is crazy. So let's go through some of the news and whatnot. There's not really too much. We had a lot of Fed speakers throughout the week. I know that Fed's Waller spoke, I think it was yesterday. I don't know, the days are starting to get muddled here a little, but Fed's Waller spoke, he was talking about like 3 rate cuts this year, which seems a little ludicrous, and it seems that the post-inflation CPI pump is continuing NASDAQ and the S&P into weekly highs currently. Right? Yeah, I think, into weekly highs, trying to push a little higher right now. There's some news out of insurance, right? Insurance shaping up to be one of the biggest themes of 2025. The California fires have put a huge spotlight on the property side of the business. The recent murder of Brian Thompson, one of the top executives at United Health, UNH, tragically put healthcare insurance on the front page, and UNH's stock still hasn't recovered since the fatal shooting in early December. Shares dropped about 20%, erasing $100 billion in market cap. Another spotlight was recently placed on the sector by President-elect Donald Trump, right? Inauguration coming up next week. Also, markets are closed on Monday due to MLK Day, and we also have OPEX today, so it's making for a strong close to the week. So Trump, who promised to knock out the drug industry middlemen such as United Health's Optum RX unit. Also not helping the situation was the healthcare giant's disappointing medical loss ratio and Q4 revenue miss on Thursday, which prompted some questions on the concerns. And we saw that the stock dropped about 6% during that time. There's a transcript. It means not just reducing the cost, making it more affordable, but it's also about trying to make it easier to access, less complex, less confusing. This is what the CEO, Andrew Whitty, talked about. As I said in my opening comments, we recognize there's still a lot of work to be done in that regard. Fundamentally, healthcare costs more in the U.S. because the price of a single procedure, visit, or prescription is higher here than it is in any other country. Another example is the persistently high cost of drugs in the U.S., leaving American consumers, employers, and public agencies to pay disproportionately more than people in other countries. Tackling the problem will require all parts of the system and policymakers to come together. Now, UNH, I've liked it for a longer term holding. The thing's been beat down pretty drastically. Yesterday had a massive down day. It's at this massive auction low area on a larger range bottom. Well, it's close to it at least. Even on that slump, we respected it fairly well, but I think that these themes in insurance might be a bit rocky for the foreseeable future, but ultimately I think there is good potential to the upside swing on these. Now, as we go deeper and deeper into what's going on today, I wish everyone a good morning that's joining us, but the overall upside in these markets is impressive. It's impressive. Yesterday we had failed auctions to the downside. Yesterday in the Power Hour stream we had a great long, two longs actually. One of them literally low pointed me, sure. Not the exact low tick, but low pointed me on the NASDAQ before getting long again for about like 60, 70 points. I like the longs on the overnight session. I just thought that we'd fail from the 320 area. That didn't happen. That's a main huge pivot here on the S&P 500. As we're looking at it, there is just a sweep, or sorry, not the S&P, the NASDAQ. There's just a sweep to the upside throughout the whole overnight session. Massive, massive rally here, about 400 points almost on the NASDAQ. We got the breakout of the general range on both these equities on the overnight session, which a little crazy to me, but things are bullish, right? Just because we had this massive rally doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and try to short everything. Another big factor about this is OPEX that's coming out. Well, not coming out. Today is OPEX. Options expire. The monthly OPEX is today, where the general consensus and movement of the market is a bit wonky. And we get sideways momentum movement. We get a little more volatility, spikes up and down, a little more aggression on those spikes, where market makers generally try to pin things, readjust their positions, and so forth. But right now, as things stand, bullish behavior in these markets. I don't necessarily see too much resistance coming up, but generally when you have a move like this, the first initial reaction off the open when the majority of volume starts stepping into the market is to the opposite end. When there's profit taking, there's stops, right? There's repositioning. So seeing some kind of a decline here realistically would make it so that we might find better buyers at lower prices. Where are those better buyers? The way that I see it is have a pivotal level here on NASDAQ that seems extremely far away right now. It's at 320-ish. The S&P is closer, but still fairly far away. It's at 90. Right now, I have to adjust those because yesterday, this was what we were talking about yesterday before we jumped into the morning session with our team. Yesterday, NASDAQ and the S&P, they both moved into some auction high areas, right? 550 area here on NASDAQ yesterday on the overnight session was tapped. We've exceeded that today. We trade up to like 590 now. I don't even know exactly what the figure is. Let me see here. Yeah, 590 something even. So as we're looking at this like cleaner, larger expansion, yesterday was not the case because we failed from it immediately, and we were starting to create kind of lower lows, lower highs into a key structural area. And it was a factor of if we're going to actually hold 440, 430 on NASDAQ and press a bid going to the upswing or not. The failure of that opens up the downside. So that's what I call a failed acceptance in these market conditions with the auctions. Now, I want to be very careful because realistically, we might open around 600 here on the NASDAQ. There's still time, might pull back. But if we start losing 550 area, I think that there is a little more drop to the downside where a realistic target looks like 430, looks like 440, 420 into that area before an active buyer starts stepping in. So let's put Boxy on here. He'll talk about oil, then I'll do a deeper dive in these equities and how I'm expecting to go about the day, planning around my day and looking at some of this execution because this thing is just on a frivolous bull ride here. Morning, Boxy. How's it going?
Alright, what are you up to?
Not bad, or not much. I closed some longs a bit early. I didn't expect this. I don't even know what to attribute this market to right now. We're in the skies, but not much overall. What about you? How's oil? I haven't checked on oil.
Well, it's doing alright. You wanna
Yeah, yeah.
stop?
Let me just do that.
Yeah. Well, good morning, TRADEPRO Academy. Good morning, Victoria, YouTube, everybody. Hope your day's going good. Ball market is down this morning. Open about $1 below where we opened on Friday. Friday we did see a bit of a run up, but Globex came in, opened on the VWAP, ran the VWAP for a while, and then about 6 this morning we started this downward push. So pivot sitting at 78, VWAP's right there on the pivot. R1's up at 79.10, S1's down at 76.82. We caught our open this morning in the 77.40s. So at this moment, we're not trending. The trends are actually mixed, but your eyes can show you that since a little after 8 o'clock, we've just been running sideways. So we'll have to watch this for a minute before we can take any real confident positions in it. We get a break below the opening range low, and we can get on the short. We get a break above the opening range high, a significant break above the opening range high, then we could think about getting long for a run to the VWAP. But at this moment, we're just dead in the middle of the range, right on the open. So we'll just have to watch it. We'll do that. What's up. Victoria, back to you.
Perfect. Let's take a look at these equities here. If it wants to load. So, with equities, on SPOOs and NASDAQ here, yesterday was an interesting battle. The majority of my trades were on the short side, mainly because what did we get here? We got this we have this auction, this minor auction that's setting up. The top band around 550, right? The bottom band is closer to 420-ish. And then under that, right, we open to the downside where we target this 300 odd area, 300-ish, right? Let's just call it. So when you lose an auction like that, right, my first thought yesterday was I can sell rallies into these low 400s to target lower. Eventually, into the end of the day, they did break a significant downside momentum move. Before on the overnight, I was looking at it because we're coming into that coveted 200 area to hold this minor auction region before we slump down, because you lose 200, honestly, it's kind of an easy gate to 21K. You're also losing, right, the CPI auction cleanup start, which sits around 200, so under that is flush us down to 21,000, it would seem. So thoughts were okay, on the overnight, I talked about this in Discord with our team, 200 to 320 would be my target, and then see if anyone wants to sell 320. They really didn't, and then this kind of opened up. I am not holding any longs anymore, naturally, but the way that this thing's setting up right now, we're just through all the auctions from the downside to the upside, which puts bullish pressure on this, where we currently traded a high of, what do we trade a high of? I think 12s. Right, 612s on NASDAQ. We're now about 70 points higher than the auction top, which is a lot, right? These pullbacks, obviously I think it might be a little aggressive if they start buying it at 550-ish, right? 530, it seems like a very fragile, small pullback on an OPEX day as well. If we get a Friday buy day, just trend day, this looks a little ridiculous on a 2-day move, but it is possible. So I'm mainly concerning myself with the potential of the 550 on the NASDAQ, along with the failure under it. Because if you fail 550, it's not like I flip super giga bearish, but I start looking for the failure that holds into 420, where 420 becomes that opportunistic area to continue this wave higher. So right now, if we're going to get this ballistic trend day, OPEX expiration, weird just upside momentum, we should hold 550, which again, it seems a little ridiculous right now considering where we're at. But 550, maybe we extend it down to 530, right? Within that vicinity, it's starting to make sense for these guys to try and hold that. But I'm going to give it a lot of time here. After this kind of expansion, I'd expect a deeper pullback in these markets, if I'm being honest here, and that deeper pullback can bring us to 420, 430. but it becomes like failed acceptance on an intraday if we do lose this 530-ish area. It's one of those days where you're expecting kind of crappy movement based on OPEX. You have good ideas, but like you want to kind of let the dust settle a little. The more this thing goes up, the better I feel about buying 530, 550. S&P is very similar, except for S&P here. This weird session overnight profile. You've got like kind of like a triple distribution. The main auction area top is still around 6,000, right? 595 maybe, without trying to get down to 590, 5990. So 6,000 area again becomes a deeper pullback. You have a key area that's about to shape up close to 40 here, 35 to 40, which I expect some kind of resistance realistically. But if I'm looking at this to the upside swing, the aggressive levels to look at are 15 and then 6,000 to continue this upside move. You lose the low 90s on SPOOs. Honestly, I start turning the bear idea on under those areas, right? Like Nasdaq has an area at 640, one of the targets. 710 is another target. Above 710, 720, like this should really let things go. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Ran through that equity stuff semi-quickly here. I'm going to type this out in Discord so we have a visual representation of it as well. I talked about like 300s, 320 being a key spot also for the pullback continuation this morning for our European friends and everyone that was up. Did I think that we would rally 300 points from 320? Not at all, but here we are now. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Didn't expect this day. Let's make it a good day indeed, Merc. Let's see what's cooking. What, like, if I was like Eastern time zone or a different time zone just waking up to this shit, I'd be dumbfounded. At least I watched it happen. I don't know what may or may not be the cause of this. I do not know. Too many people calling for tops. Yeah, more buying than selling. Simple. Do I use the session VP? Not really. I don't use a session VP. I use these like larger auctions. Well, like the session VP, as things are shaping up later on in the day, like sometimes the development of thinner heavy volume, but usually just like prior VPs, prior session VPs, larger volume profiles, delta profiles, cumulative profiles, multi-day profiles. I think that's where we stand, Justin. I think that is where we stand to buy dips. Now I think like people are gonna look at this and try to like fade it. I think they may be right on the first move of the day where like the downside tries to open up a little more. It seems logical, right? Take some profit, eat some stops on the way down, but I don't want to look at this and be like, it has to fail, everything's going to die, blah blah blah. What are your thoughts? What are your general thoughts on single prints? Single prints, I don't have general thoughts about them too much. For me, they kind of, I guess, create confluence and like prop up areas of support resistance. They also prop up the idea of trend moves, right? If you have multiple single prints in a profile, helps identify the potential of a trend move. But I don't like like the single prints generally line up with the areas that I care about, so it's like good confirmation. So like 6,000 ish, right? 6,015. That's what we were talking about earlier today. But it's not because I've derived it from a single print. It's just that a single print does help that auction area become maybe a bit better of a confirmation tool. Market's gonna open soon. The which profile? Like these profiles, like the gray one is a 200-day, the one directly beside it is a 5-day, a weekly, and then these ones are sessions. So like the dark background is RTH, the light background blue is ETH, and then what you see on the range bars, they're split up as well in terms of backgrounds. Light background ETH, dark background RTH, whatever profiles are in those are for that session. Apple, dude, Apple had a crap day yesterday. It was down 4%. Nvidia was down too. S&P was like barely red. Apple's trying to gap up, like not super convincingly, but would you say that most psychological issues with trading are related to the size we trade? Everyone has different capital risk tolerance. Yeah, I think maybe not like most, but I think like that's like a big factor as well. Like if you sense like fear or like wanting to tilt or revenge trade, it means like most likely, right? Not to say for sure, but most likely the risk that you're taking might be a bit too big in that regard, which is like stopping you from thinking through the actual potential of the process that you want to use or going forth with. So like I would say there, yeah, that is true. Like maybe not like the biggest, or it might be. I don't know, but it's a big one. Let's say, if I want to be exact. This thing like 680, honestly impressive. I've taken out as well. I did this yesterday where I like took out the footprints and looked at them a little closer to get a better read of what's going on with the order flow stuff as well. Um, this is the Nasdaq one. Come on, move. Like if I'm like that's a big buyer on Nas right under that 600. People getting stuck, super stuck. Huge stuck sellers on the way up. This is why I'm looking at this because I don't remember what happened on the DOM, but this block over here, right? This general area, like we were talking about the auction top, starts to make sense for that pullback to hold, but like Nasdaq trading a lot higher than that isn't like it can pull back obviously, but like that would be a pretty big pullback. I expect the first move to be more of a sell anyways. Here's your market open. Getting volatile and sold off right away. Surprise, surprise. Um, Looking at the spoos as well. Like, look at where these guys get trapped. Right around the 13s, we can call it. But strong pullback so far. First move, right on the sell. It just depends on what are we, where we kind of mellow things out a little. Huge sellers trying to come in at 22s on the spoos. Are they stuck? Nope. Nasdaq beat down trading into the 80s. '70s. Look how easy it was to pull back 100 points. The hell was that sound?
Your reminder to check for funny.
Just check. Nowhere to be seen.
Body's AWOL again.
Too much time at the casino last night at the Chino. A lot of people look actively stuck on Nas. Like Look at this delta profile so far. It just accumulated super red. Unfortunately, we haven't traded into that area yet, but I think it's possible. No, it wasn't. I don't know what that sound was, honestly. I have no idea where it came from. This is the first time I've heard it. A lot of accumulation getting trapped down here on this NASDAQ. 570s. Oh wait, man, it's like 3 minutes off the open after this like erratic overnight session on an OPEX. Like, these guys are holding offers right now. 560s, boom. Yeah, OPEX schmopex. Getting closer and closer to seeing what is up into, I guess, like pretty close to 13 on SPOOs, 530s, 540s on NAS. But currently, right, it's no surprise that it seems like a wave of profit taking and just like reoffering is taking hold of this market. Like, okay, if I show you these two things here, yeah, two footprints. One is the size of the whole screen for some reason. Oh my god, move. So look at this kind of interesting situation that's transpiring on both of these S&Ps and the Nasdaq right now. You're getting a lot of negative delta, traders selling into the lows, creating a lot of cumulative negative delta and like trying to hold pops higher. S&P, right, is finally through those negative delta blocks. Very, very close to that 15, but like this guy got stuck and like rebid it. Right now, situationally, I'd be looking for pullbacks into those areas to see something similar in reactive buyers if like that's going to be indeed an area where the buy side comes in, and like best case scenario, it's not a one-touch bounce because that's devastating for me. You've riddled like this whole session profile with negative delta here. Like this, the whole freaking day so far. Well, it's been 7 minutes. So the whole 7 minutes, the whole day is just like sell, 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 sell. Like net selling. So forgive me if I don't want to jump headfirst into this on the buy. Oh, that sounds very convincing. at the current moment. Pretty close, and like the development of the negative delta continues. Red delta, negative delta, I don't know, call it what you will. It's a pretty thick block here. Rebid, instant re-offer, flavor of the month. Yeah, cumulative delta is green on the day on ES, but not at all on NASDAQ. NASDAQ's very red. And dragging lower. Let's put fatty in. Whoa, that's a seller. We're starting to get the fruition of the failed acceptance back under these auction lows. Which area do I want to buy? Honestly, like, I was looking around this 530 on NAS, about like 14ish on SPOOs, but we might have fake lower. Like, I think if we can rebid a bit heavier on NAS and start moving back above these like negative deltas, it might be possible. Otherwise, like, I'm gonna sell rallies down into 420 on NAS, which I think is probably the better course of action here right now. I think like 420-ish area should probably hold on NAS, 6,000 on the SPOOs, but right now they're trying to create some kind of stuck situation at those lows, but I don't know. Honestly, SPOO's not that bad either. I'd take a shot on NAS on the long. I don't know if I get filled though. I waited maybe a bit too long. I was trying to fill like 5 teens. A big ass seller trying to get absorbed on NAS. Hey, what's up, Fetty?
Morning, buddy.
I might have to try to bid them higher, man. Into these mid-20s. is up, fatty?
It's not bad, looks good.
Oh, fuck.
Key ledge here on NQ. Nice reaction. Now coming out too hot. I'll try it to 24, 23. Why not?
Why not? Ba-na-na-na-na. These guys like reject the bid pretty quickly here, but like I'm not fully surprised. I'm trying to buy this like drastic downside move. Might get punished here. Out of pretty much all of these except for one. I'm probably gonna get taken out of this one as well. I don't mind it.
It's a good shot, decent reaction, good rotation. It's just like the offer kind of came out like too strong towards the.
If it was gonna hold here, great, but like now I know not to buy it continuously.
Where's your like pivot? Start like selling rallies.
Man, honestly, like now that we're below that like 550, 540, like it doesn't look like too great. Like SPOOs are in a okay area to try and hold a bid, but Nasdaq's like through this auction top right now. Oh man, these guys, they're starting to look like stuck again though, you know?
Yeah.
Like get head faked and then this thing just starts ripping. It happened to me yesterday. At the end of the day, pretty much. You gotta be kidding me.
Update from Russia. Russian Putin at 55 BCM of Russian gas per year could be supplied to Iran. And notice on Russia's plans to export natural gas to Iran since technical issues are being discussed. Just a quick price action update after the US cash open. In terms of US indices, they do open.
This is ridiculous. I got taken out like near the lows.
4%. After 2,000 up 80 basis points and Dow Jones will also up 80 basis points. US indices, they do open up as news flow in the equity space has been on the high side.
I might start selling this, honestly.
Monday, the sector performance you see.
I don't want to get trapped in that idea though. Because these guys, like, there's a bid that's showing up right now that had to head fake me before it starts ripping. Like, it's a little ugly. See if I can dump some shorts just under that 550, mid 540s here. I'll play on the side of the trend. Let's see if we get flipped on both sides here. I can't get filled in this. It was like points away.
Further from Russian Putin says there are delays in construction of nuclear power plant blocks in Iran. We consider construction of new blocks.
S&P looks a little more bullish. Interesting. Some decent sellers coming in at 540 on NAS. S&P one touches that 15, holds bid. Yeah. I don't really want to get aggressive on the entry.
Monitoring remarks again for China Xi. The signal inevitably differences between China and the US. The key is to respect each other's core interests and major concerns. Find proper ways.
Who's holding bid?
Chinese state media.
Nothing on that either. Okay, well, clearly offers are trying to come into this, and I can't get filled.
On China Xi, just note that China and US share broad common interests. They can be partners and friends.
I think I'm gonna have to pull some of these down. That's why they have a market button. Like high 40s, mid 40s, and then I'm trying to pull it down to like high 30s. It's very choppy again, but like less swings. Okay, I've filled most, I believe. All. Don't nuke me though, what is this? Colossal bid. Oh my god. I'm legit on the wrong side of both these. That's ridiculous. I gotta wait for this a little. These guys get stuck. They look like they want to hold the offer. I get sucked into it. Rebids. Little head fake higher. Like, ridiculous. Like, I'm getting like head faked on both moves. Like, I was like high tick and low tick stop.
I wanna try the 50 short.
Dude, I know. I'm just gonna do it again here. One more shot.
SLB sees Canada absolute sale closing in the next few months.
I'm getting like whipped out on the ticks.
I missed that.
This is ridiculous. This can't be real. Bro.
Wi-Fi 10 now?
No, man, this isn't real life. I like the short side still, but like.
I like the shorts too, and I had think up with like a big offer that kind of makes sense. It's like hit Vicky outside of the small range. It sucks because he hit long the range or short the range, and it makes sense.
Yeah, this thing like takes me up by a few points. I'm like, you can't be serious here. Alpex, Chompex.
What are you thinking here, Vic? Like, are you thinking try to short?
Yeah, I have my limits there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like I feel like you're gonna round trip, but I didn't want to see that. But still look good though, that seller. I'll try.
Further on US-China, the two agreed to maintain regular contact on major issues and agreed to establish strategic communication channels.
The key is don't have a stop. I would have been fine without.
I know. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Useless.
All right. Moment of truth. Do I get blasted again?
Yeah. I just have to say I'm getting filled with NASA very strong bits and
They have to like undercut, I guess, this like big negative delta down here, which is going to be a pretty tough mission. Let's see here. The 20s trading, not bad so far. Come on, 9s. Fill some. Decent 40, 45, 50 point move here. Yes, kill him. Nice. Buy more. Back. 490s. Stops break even. Now let's see if we can get down to 420, 440. That piece of shit whipsaw up and down, dude. These guys getting stuck down at that 490. Fetty, what the hell are we dealing with today? Flush as a low, immediate bid back up. Mike, I expected us when we made the new lows to continue lower. Bro, what? I ain't taken out of these trailers. Rigged. Alright, well, I'm flat on the restless. That fucking sucked, honestly. I should have cut more. This thing just got the best of me. It'll be a tougher day to trade this shit. I'm gonna sell this again. Into these low 40s, mid 40s. Nope, I'm not because it didn't fill. I might. big buyer trying to get stuck. Let's see if I can start buying some back into these teens. Holy shit. Someone getting stuck on this short here. The S&P is still bullish. This is OPEX. Like fuck, these guys got stuck. I didn't take any of this off, and now I'm gonna get flushed here. Kind of want to do it again though. One last hurrah into these 550s, 560. If I get stopped on those two, that's fine, but nope. Monster bid. Nah, this OPEX is, I think I'm gonna leave this alone after this. This like monster rebid here is gonna kill me. Try to short it. These guys just nuking me.
Donald Trump is eager to use week one to show supporters that he's making good on his signature issue, immigration. Although the article does note he's unlikely to fulfill some of his biggest and most aggressive naval promises.
These guys got a little too deep into it. Like I guess everyone's just like stuck into the 520. This looks so wonky. Like stop. Decent fill, no continuation. Bits looking pretty solid. Those guys got stuck at like 520. Rebid the shit out of this. Like, it just, for me at least, I got a little too under that like 530 area for me just to keep hammering that bid. I tried it once, almost low ticked. And now the sellers look pretty good. I'm gonna try it into that 570. This is going to be my last sell on this, my last over trade, playing with like the overnight profits about to go to frickin' zero. I'm not even gonna get on this, and then I'm just gonna leave it alone at that. Too slow and too fast for OPEX. Like, the second I set my limits out, these guys just start running. I still think that they pull it down a decent bit here. I don't see like too much of these buyers coming through. It's just like I couldn't fill this. There's no reason for me to keep them up there. Like I'm looking, like look at this like footprint right now. Like it's just like a plethora of sell. That's why I try to sell 570. Like these guys rip it a little higher and then start offering like crazy. This is just like kind of what the day looks like today. They easily get killed on this. Trying to hold above the 520. Immediate reoffer. Dump another short into this mid. Oh my god! Like, I think they're watching me. They have to be. Like, how's that even possible? Into that 545. The second I clicked. I'm honestly impressed at the way this thing is just trying to destroy me. No way. You have that huge stuck seller down at that 520. If that lets go, like, this thing's getting rocked. It's a big if. Not only are my entries bad, but like Well, actually, no, that's pretty much the main thing. When it's like this choppy and swingy with like bad entries, you're gonna get cut up, which is the current situation. I like the idea of that short, but could I have gone in on a better spot on this? 100%. And like, I'm gonna get taken out on this here. Okay, they left me too. Cool. I don't think this is gonna work. I'm over trading this. Like, this choppiness is getting to me. I don't like it, but I had some positioning here before that did solid, so I don't mind it. Man, I really just want to, like, if I had a better entry on this, I'd feel a lot better about this. I'm not really that fond of trying to add into this after taking a loss, though. Rubber. Add a few into these 555s. If this just like takes me, then I'm just switching to sim, and then that's it for me. If I get caught out on like a break move higher, it's over. I'll take that loss and then just walk away. I don't need to be ruining my full week on a Friday. Bids aren't giving up every time this tries to reoffer, though. No matter the outcome actually of this trade, I'm done for the day. This OPEX'd me. I don't want to let it go. I'm getting like a high ticked on these stops too. That's honestly very, very impressive. If you haven't seen yet, take a very good look. Not everyone can do it. I think it's over for these sellers. Well, reoffer. Just I'm saying that. Clearly, I don't know. But these rebids keep coming in pretty aggressively, so like I'm probably on the wrong side of this move currently, but if it drops then I think like probably the expected move is like 520. Everyone's like super stuck into that delta low area. A lot of selling transpiring right now. These guys gonna get stuck and we just have like this tight little shit range right now. $534, $530, $528's honestly like pretty solid move here. Like finally. Up about like 30 handles on it. I really want to see if we can break that 20. Oh, 20 breaks. Maybe we try to take some off here before it rebids at 20. I'm gonna break even on these. Because this has a knack of like just holding. My camera died here.
Okay, also anscheinend jetzt
Nice.
die Rechnung, die
500.
wegen im November. Da hast du
I'll buy a few more back here. Nice break 490. Okay, well that kind of makes up for this bullshit, honestly. I don't know how much deeper we go, so like I'd probably buy most back. I liked it, but like god damn, this thing, like look at these frickin' entries, dude. Like
Rebalance the FG Russia and Iran, according to Interfax, Russia and Iran are negotiating open gas production.
like a 70-point move, okay, but like the pain that it took to get there was like ridiculous. Let's see if I can take one more here just in case, because this weird pop is happening. Like, not like managers are pretty bad, sure, but like I think overall, just the whipsawiness of this. Like they were holding 550 sometimes, and they go to like 560 or whatever.
Which hurts me. I had my internet cut off. I had to reset it.
Thanks, Freddy. It took fucking forever.
I don't know, bro. Fuck.
Does this thing just not have battery? Oh, battery level at 0. Okay,
Well,
that's...
fucking, I had a trade earlier on. I don't know. I think he took another trade or something, but yeah, that was open while the internet was cutting out.
Oh my god.
I know. Panic mode.
I had 2 good trades today, and the rest of them were literally me getting stopped at high ticks. And low ticks. I know. I was just saying, like, show me someone else I can get stopped like that.
Very few people.
No one.
That means I have the right ideas and the right entries. It's just the stuff is
Yeah, just I have a stop. That's the issue.
What's your take on this? Are we bullish or bearish?
Oh.
Like, you couldn't really get through the low 490 on this push.
Clearly, I'm not the person to be asking.
It's not now, at least. It's like, who knows? This is the big range.
It looks
Front
bearish.
extremes.
It looks bearish. I'd like it to be more bearish, but like I don't want to hold a full position out to find out just for it to round trip me after taking like so many like low and high tick losses. And like I had to add into this position too. I got stuffed on most of it. Only 2 were left, and I'm like, this is it. Like that's the last one. If it goes, it goes. 'Cause I was down I was up like 1,000 points going into the morning session, like from the overnight. Now, if I flatten this, I'm up like 850-ish probably, but still like. No bueno. Let's see if we can cut this low. I wanted to see on that first short that I had to go and see that 420, but now I want to see it too. It's just not appearing. What does, Mike? Tell me. How many times? Yeah. That's true YouTube entertainment. Watch me get high and low ticked in the market using slightly different stops each time. New lows 480. Oh, that was painful, but it's coming back to life. I'm not even like mad at these whipsaws. I understand the day that's going on. I put myself at risk here with this OPEX trading. It made sense. Like that's kind of what we were saying. Like, look, the trade ideas. I'm not upset or like mad about any of them at all because like what we said was if we lose 550 we should probably be shorting under. It's just like my entry's not the best. Like I shorted 550 sometimes, I shorted 530 sometimes. Like now look at this motherfucker. You gotta be kidding me, dude.
Yeah, that lower, like bigger rally.
Yeah, this market makers, Jimmy and Timmy going at it. I say we'll pin it, but we'll pin it slightly higher and slightly lower each time, and you'll never know where. 550 looks good. Okay, go to 580. 500 looks good. Okay, go to 480 now. Good long, Brian. Not for me though. Yeah, those guys got stuck into that low. Eh. I'm curious. Like I was talking to someone the other day that's like a pretty good trader that I know, and he was telling me about like big ass stops that he uses on like Nasdaq. Like I was telling him I'm generally like on average probably like 23, let's say, and he's like, dude, I don't even touch Nasdaq without a 50-point stop, and I'm like, whoa.
Huge. That's huge. So does he target like 100-point moves?
Not even like 100-point moves, but like decently large moves. Like he's not gonna be going like 30, 40 points, but even then he's like honestly like sometimes if it's just not going I'll scale out to a 1-to-1. But
That's good.
yeah,
I know a
ideally
lot of
larger
people-
moves.
I know a lot of people that do that. Kind of have like a time stop, and like if it's not going past 1 to 1, like they give it some time, and if it's not going, they start scaling out. That's okay. 50 is just too steep though. Give me that 50-point stop.
I did today.
That's the good part.
Like what the hell is this rally right now? I guess fair. I'm gonna get taken out on the remainder of this freaking round trip a 70, 80-point move. That's impressive, market.
With Nasdaq, I kind of tried a lot of stops. I started off with 15, then like kind of pushed that up to 20 and widened my takeoff as well. Honestly, now like between like 20 25, like I care about the entry where like I want to enter where like my stop is like a little bit above the swing high, for example, or the swing low. So like if that's 20 points, fine. If it's 25, fine. If it needs more than 25 to get to that to where I want the stop to be, it's probably like that fill or something.
Yeah, like I'll like even when I swing, like I'll use like 35ish, which I think is like pretty big, but like okay, I'm fully out of this now. That was honestly kind of bullshit. But like even like today, I guess like yeah, sure you have OPEX to kind of blame or thank or however you want to view it, but like even then, like if I'm like selling it here, my stop is above these swing highs, and it's like okay, thank you. And then I sell it here, stop's obviously going to be above these swing highs. it goes, but then they come back right away. So I sell it again, stops above these swing highs. Okay, thank you. And I was like, what the hell? like,
I see it here, yeah.
like this is impossible.
Tough trading conditions, but hey, last short you did when I got out, that was great. 570. That's good.
Yeah, I shouldn't have like chased it down to like 545 to begin with. Like I could have saved some of that fuel if I just like waited a bit more or had my stops above these swing highs. Like it looked pretty bearish from here, but I got caught into it a little more. Rigged, what can I tell you? Well, that was a turbulent day. I had the conviction of the short. It's just very evidently I had very limited idea of where to actually enter it. Because you rotate under this auction low 550 and then after that it makes sense, but it's a tough move. On the S&P, the only trade that I saw was like 13 long, but I didn't take it at all. S&P bullish structure, auctions, NASDAQ a little more bearish right now. Too many trades. But I'm just probably gonna cap it at that because I like round trip my pre-market PNL to like 1,000 to 200 points and now at like 750. So I don't like that. Yeah, like it went deep into the auction. It's trying to come back right now. Like I don't want to be a buyer currently until we start getting like deeper pops and potentially holding higher lows, because this is the issue around this. I have this like auction high here. I think it's like a fine area right at this auction top. But they've just decided to create a bunch of delta that sandwich the area within like 30 points above it and 30 points below it or so. Something like that. And then you have like all this negative delta here, which is, it starts at like 560 and it goes all the way down to about 510. So it's stuck within this area right now. What are stocks doing? Someone said Tesla was ripping.
You want to throw up the early exit then?
Yeah, sure. I have the urge to short this again.
I'm honestly thinking about it. Like, I only shot twice today because like the internet thingy, so I still have some room. I'm sure
Good
I got
man.
slight green so far, like very slight, so I can put on more trades. It's just it's too bullish at the moment. Like I like the level here. It's like show me a reaction, not a rotation. Show me somebody stuck.
Seeing some guys trying to sell it, but are they stuck or
Yeah,
real?
it's like they're bidding them.
What was I looking at? Apple still kind of sucking. Meta gap up to like sell. These guys are selling. It looks like a broad sell outside of like Tesla. All these guys like filled their gap pretty easily. Like I don't know. I think we sell into the close. That could be just like talking shit. Difficult day. Pretty hard week overall. Might be be our first day this week where room is more down than up. I continue to watch as this thing continues to try to find a bid. As it though, I think I'm tapping out after that. I'm gonna go do some other shit afterwards, so I can't trade even if I wanted to.
Just on there for the AT CFO Andrew Bonfield has reported over market sale of 10,000 of the company's common shares. Their average price of $380.09 per share.
Let me see one thing here. I'll switch this to sim, so I'm not touching shit right now. Before I get the old ass slapping. Bum, bum, ba, na, 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 na. Let's change this outlay. Maybe it's a bit bigger now. I'm done for the day. Those are my trades. That last short kind of helped things out, but like I'm not getting too excited about this no more.
I'm trying to sell 560 now. That's shit, bro.
You know, if you have any questions, this day was a whip. Oh, dude, shut up. Yeah, today, honestly, whipping around PNLs. Unfortunately.
Push a lot more.
Push, 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 push.
Yes.
Some sellers that are trying to hold it, I guess. Yeah, the whipping around within the auctions, like deep on each side of it, is like this is. It's not. It's not great for the way that I generally trade. Quite the opposite. It's pretty fucking bad, honestly. Because then I'm like, I'm looking at a lot of this order flow, and the order flow on days like today, especially on these like OPEX, is like weird as hell. My NQ chart range, I believe, is a 12 point. Push, Freddy, push, 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 brother.
Me, I'm already short.
More, more, more.
More than this, I go broke, brother.
I want to see you single-handedly take it down to 500. Oh my fuck, everyone just keeps calling me. Sellers right now are having a very tough time.
Yeah. I can agree to that.
Spoo's close to 40, which is an interesting spot. Nasdaq's got to get rid of a few areas to the downside here. 45 being a big one since it has like a big positive delta there.
I think if it is gonna come in now, it's smashed. Shouldn't have held this rotation.
Who the fuck even knows with this, bro? Like the way I'm seeing it is like I have no read. Like when I think the bid is coming in, they just like sell it back down immediately.
It's, offer.
Buy, sell, buy. And yesterday, everyone was like, "Oh my god, such a hard day, so shit to trade." What about today, people? Could always be worse. Yeah, there's the bid. For now.
Jesus.
I don't like I said, I've tapped out for the day. I'm just watching this and like answering any questions that may be presented or any topics of conversation you guys might have. That'd be pretty interesting. Only interesting ones though. I don't want boring ones. And I'm the decider,
You're the decider.
of
Of
course.
course you
We've gone through this. The this is not the People's Republic of Victoria. Might have been wrong on this outlook. Like the buy side's looking pretty juiced right now. Of course, Mike. You know.
Interesting amounts for GDP now, tracking for Q4. It does maintain its GDP forecast for Q4 at 3%.
You know, some days when you're trading, it feels like the market's rigged against you. Some days, not all days. If it's all days, then it's a you problem. But if it's some days, then you get a little suspicious. In this choppiness, would you trade the break of the IB retest? Yeah, like I feel like that becomes the best trade. But like for me on like spoos, the IB is literally like right at the auction area, which like I'd like to see price above like 60-40 realistic, or at least a larger expansion above this IB high. Seems bullish right now. Rebids consistently. Seems like shit. There's no trade here. Yes, currently really does not want to give this buy fight up. And the way that like Naz is reacting is getting people stuck on the short, it seems. This is what I'm looking at. I'm not really doing anything about it, but it's an interesting fight here. You can see like Naz, you have some decently large sellers that are kind of trapped at this low. Some buyers are trying to hold prices out here. It's a pretty big fight. You've got delta blocks almost everywhere. There's a pretty big buyer at these 640 or 545s, I should say. That's why we held it. We're above a lot of these auctions. A bunch of these, like, look at this low that, like, Brian was saying he was getting long. Well, I was trying to hold out shorts for the break. Like, people getting stuck on the low. As it rips, people getting stuck into higher prices. Like, that's a pretty bullish event. And, like, right now, we're above the pseudo auction, it seems. It hasn't been holding that well for today, but the probability currently does look a little more on the buy side's momentum. Like if these guys get disrupted, which looks a little unlikely right now, and like big selling comes through, that's like the case for this seller. But it seems like they're positioning for an expansion higher right now. You have SPOOs that look bullish overall. But we just can't get out of this little rotation. If they reverse this buying and open up the selling under this, like that's the larger move lower, but like we're talking probabilities. Doesn't seem like a pretty high chance of that happening right now. Futures course 2019. I don't even think I have a futures course 2019. Use the one that I made. It should be 2023. It's in the website. Bid. It doesn't want to stop. Too much buying on this right now. Short's dead.
From BOC says in the future it will be clearer about limited circumstances under which it would conduct large-scale asset purchases in a time of crisis. BOC says this would guard against moral hazard when market participants take bigger risks, thinking the bank will intervene if things go wrong. The bank says it could improve programs by more clearly distinguishing between asset purchases to restore market functioning and asset purchases for monetary stimulus. The bank says it should outline the purpose of each program and design them to ensure they are temporary and have a clearly defined exit strategy. It says measuring the precise impact of QE is challenging. Bank found QE kept longer-term rates lower than they otherwise would have been, thereby boosting the economy. It says if QE is needed again, the bank could link size and pace of purchases as well as the end of QE and more boosting the economy. It says in its own analysis, it indicates its policy actions including QE, did not on their own push inflation significantly above 2% in the future. BOC rather says extraordinary forward guidance could be more clearly tied to the inflation outlook and emphasise more communications. They say the Governing Council agreed that the bar for using exceptional monetary policy tools should remain very high. And they say it is also improving its forecasting tools and has started working on a new generation of economic models, saying the new models will distinguish between inflation that comes from high demand and inflation that comes from high input costs.
You cut it from somewhere. Dude, if you're gonna bootleg a course, don't tell me about it. This has been pretty difficult of a day, and I don't know where it's going to go or what it's going to do at this rate. So, like I said, I round-tripped a pretty solid day, so I feel like it's time for me to walk away, as they say. It was OPEX though. I didn't really have any other expectations. I feel like at this point, the only thing that I could have done better was maybe trade it less. Because I was getting high ticked and low ticked left, right, and center. And like the fluidity of the movement was like very far and few. If you guys have any questions on the YouTube stream, you can either ask them now or check out community.tradeproacademy.com. I post plans in there. It's an open Discord, and if I see questions people might have, I do answer them. Maybe not super timely, but you shorted 37 quarter on the spoos is pretty good. It seems just like a struggle for this sell side to come through. The buyer's just like rebidding every chance that it gets right now. Like instantaneously, pretty much.
Note for American Express, they are temporarily waiving